Hello, everyone. Welcome to XM Live, where we talk this hour about the trade of the week. Every week, Stan and me, we are discussing. A lot is going on in the last couple of weeks. This will also continue in the next couple of weeks, I assume. And there we have quite great volatility, and that, of course, creates opportunities. Stan, how are you doing?
Hi, Gil. Very good to see you. Thanks so much. Gotta say, doing pretty good. A little bit traveling. It's going to be this weekend, Easter holidays. So
Mm-hmm.
you have seen me already back into this old school
Yes.
house destination, multiple times even. The mood is very good. Have been traveling yesterday, market-wise. But okay, before I get to the market, how have you been doing?
I'm doing quite good in this environment, I must say. I feel like I'm, you know, there is a term to be in the zone with the markets. I feel like recently I'm quite in the zone with the markets, and yeah, so things are quite good. Before we continue, I just want to mention I know that people from YouTube are watching us. You can ask questions through YouTube, but also we are having a service, XM Live. It's a free platform. You can sign up on three different channels. We are streaming 8 hours every single day. So you will get content about trading. If you're learning to trade, if you want to see what's going on at the markets, you can sign up there. Again, it's totally free, and we would love to see you there.
Absolutely. Just bring it on. Let's have the session as an open debate and an open discussion. Market wise, I feel like we didn't have the great volatility in the last few days. Actually, since last week
Hmm.
that we met, we didn't have this tremendous move, despite the fact that there have been a ton of headlines that the market become a little bit indifferent to that. We have Nandom Ladong in YouTube. Good morning. Thank you,
Hmm.
Nandom, for tuning in. Welcome on board. Are you the same Nandom from the project or maybe somebody else? And we have Tuanelo, Noel, and Jeff. Noel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Very good to have you on board. Maybe you guys share your trades of the week. So I think that the markets have become a little bit, it have been very sensitive to what's going on, and at the end, we have so many roller coasters that the market was like, okay, let's wait and see what's gonna happen.
Hmm.
Um, we got the the good news was not really recognized. We have the tech stocks, sorry, all the chips and computers from China um, ab- abandoned the tariffs there, or actually most of it, and the market did not react much to this either. So I think that we're in a period where market just want to see what's going on before it takes any further steps and any further actions, or at least there has to be some real headline that's changing things. Also, Powell didn't do much as well. So I think that right now market is kind of dull. It's kind of waiting to see what's going on. This is at least how I feel about this. And I have missed the Australian and New Zealand dollar tremendous rally that we had, mostly against the US dollar. I did miss both of them, even though I was having a very good signal on the New Zealand dollar. It was overnight, so I was like, okay, let me wait for a pullback, which never happened.
Which is the best sign for a real rally.
Yeah, but I mean, why? Yeah, but how would you say like, okay, New Zealand and Aussie will be doing great now? We- Yeah, I don't know. At least I have not foresee that.
Look, here is how I analyze the markets, and I see we have more and more also viewers from YouTube, which is great to see. You can ask questions. Um, I I said so 2 weeks ago. I think that what we saw here was the bottom. Very typical panic selling into Monday morning down gap and into Asian and European session found the lows. And then came the US session, we got a rally, we got once more down here, and I think we could go once more even down here to the bottom. But I think we found quite the bottom. I think everything that's going on with the tariffs, we will start to get more and more good news with the tariffs. Tonight we got like good news with Japan, that they started to negotiate new tariffs and they want to have a tariff-free zone, which I think it's the ultimate goal of the US administration, at least against every country, maybe except China. And I think we found the bottom. I think this is the time to be cautiously bullish, and we see already part of quarterly reports. We will talk in the last 2 hours of today. We will talk a lot about stocks but we get quite good numbers in. Of course, the outlook is now very concerning. Everybody is concerned about the outlook and how the tariffs will affect, and everybody is a little bit in waiting zone. But I think news will start to get better. That's
I
my
think that this is not.
yeah. So
Yeah, I think that that's not the bottom. I think that we're going to see further downside deterioration before we get bullish. You mean that it's year bottom, or
I don't know if
how
it's a year
bottomish?
bottom, but at least for the look, the fundamental picture is a little bit complicated because I think the real problem is a bigger problem. It's the US national debt that have to be reduced, and therefore they have to find ways to reduce the national debt, not reduce the national debt. I think the goal is the national debt of the United States is growing in the last couple of years 7% per GDP. And they want to reduce it to around 3%. That's the goal. So it will still continue to rise, the national debt. They will not getting into they will not really save, but they have to reduce a little bit. And I think they will get probably close to it soon. It could be a little bit more pain. Who knows? Again, they try to do everything so fast that, of course, mistakes happen in the first couple of months. I think they were overactive in the first couple of months. The new government comes in and they directly start to act in a very brutal way. It confused the market a lot because they are eager to get over it and then to go back to the growth path. And I think it was too fast, too yeah, and mistakes were happened, and it disrupted the market. But in general, I think they quite got results, or they will get results soon of it. Again, cautiously optimistic, I call myself.
With me, it's rather objectively pessimistic, if I could. I think that, yeah, also from technical perspective, I think that more downside is there to get accumulated before the reversals there. Also, retail traders are heavily buying. This is not a good sign usually, and especially for the indices. I don't know how it's about other instruments, but when retailers go significantly bullish, usually that's the time where the market makes a pullback or makes another leg low for them to get barbecued. Not that its market is chasing their move, but because retailers are wrong. That's why. So yeah, I think that there is some more downside to accumulate. I'm even considering being a short seller on indices in this trade of the week. Last week I had cotton position that is about at the entry price that I execute, so nothing. Actually, we had to happen a little pullback and then pushing up. I don't have much of an idea at the moment, but I think think indices short might be some good scenario for me. Yeah,
Okay.
for today's session. Also, we gotta acknowledge that tomorrow is we are not going to have any U.S. session and stuff, and we're going to teleport straight on Monday, where probably low to non-volatility during the European session because Europe likes to have long vacations for 4 or 5 days, etc. While US it's they usually have not usually, but they have the limitation for 3 consecutive days of market close. Then
Yeah,
it
by
has
law.
to operate. That's as per rule, by law, by rule. Yeah.
But by the way, we have a lot of more comments here in the chat. We have old man. I want to buy US dollar Japanese yen. What's your thoughts? Let's talk about this very soonly. Tishvanelo is saying I managed to get short on Nasdaq 100 from 18,622.55 to 80,135. What do you think about the US 100? It's gone further down. So you heard Stan, he's rather bearish on the markets. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic that we will balance out. Again, if I think we will have another bottom and then go up. Again, I'm watching now the US 500, but that's true, of course, also to US 100 cash here. But I find like, yeah, look, in general, what I will say, this drawdown, again, the complicated thing, this drawdown is partially man-made. So it's the non-partial man-made. The partial man-made, it's this very aggressive moves by the US governments. And because it's man-made, it's also solved man-made quite easily. That's one, but that's part of it. The other part is still the national debt of the US government is not allowed to continue to grow as fast as it did in the last couple of years. And that's a structural problem, and this takes a little bit longer. So it's a little bit a combination of both. But yeah, I think we can get a double bottom here, maybe a false breakout, who knows. But I'm cautiously optimistic. I think it's not a bad level. There are stocks, we will talk about the stocks in the last 2 hours. They are in historical lows. Really, they are the cheapest ever. And so I think there are opportunities now out there.
Not in terms of price, in terms of valuation. Yeah.
In terms of valuation, like let's
Yeah.
say
Just to clarify
price
for
to
the
cash
viewers.
flow or
Yeah. Yeah.
price to earnings, something like that.
Forward PE, etc., etc.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have opportunities today, and yeah, I think so. I started like for a little bit longer term for investments. I started to buy in the previous week, the first time. That doesn't mean that I'm fully invested or anything, but I think, yeah, 20% down. It's seldom that we go 40% down in history. Of course, it happened. It's more likely that we will go up statistically now, saying.
I think that you're right to some extent here. I think that there are great opportunities with individual stocks. So even though the whole market, whether you call it Nasdaq or S&P or any form of an index, or how you described it last time, of strategy, of investment strategy goes down, will be individual stocks that will be performing great. I mean, look what's happening with Palantir. We from the bottom, that's up 43%. We're gonna gap up again today. We have new signed contracts this week. So I think that the environment will be good, but not for everybody. I still believe that Magnificent Seven might suffer some bad performances. Yeah, I think that's still,
Some of them,
yeah,
some of them.
some of them, which will be enough for us to not have a bull run. Maybe good range, maybe um, also the market. What is really crucial to me, the market is not buying good news, but it's selling bad news.